Money, money, money. That's what everyone wants to know. I went back to look at last year. When we did the video last year, I hadn't actually had my prize payments from Mallorca and South Africa. So I'd made an assumption of how much I was gonna get. And actually what I got was a little bit more because I was basically working out worst case scenario with the tax. So last year, my overall earnings of 2021, an extra 3 grand than I thought. So I thought it was about 29,900 and it was actually about 32,900 or about, let's say 33,000. And in terms of costs, that was about 16,500. So not a terrible year for kind of coming out of COVID, first proper pro year, etc. Pretty decent, hey? Can't really live off that, but that doesn't matter. The good news is that this year was much more successful, as you would kind of hope. You know, I think 5th at a World Champs, winning an Ironman, podiuming at 70.3 has made it a much better year. And also from a cost perspective, I had a bit more help with a few things this year. So actually my costs were also higher, but we did a bit more. I guess I had a month camp in Spain. I had a month camp in America before St. George. I had a month camp in America before Kona. And there was obviously Kona. Kona's obviously a bigger cost. But yeah, I think a few things to also pull out. Because of having some extra support this year, my costs are not as much as they would have been. Example, Kona, I didn't really have to pay that much for accommodation because we had support, so I probably paid 5 grand less than what I would have paid. Also for the pre-St. George camp, I didn't have to pay for accommodation for that. That also helped. And also I guess the Woodlands camp, we had a homestay. So there's a whole load of things that's actually I probably could have quite easily spent about 10 grand more. Costs this year were almost double 2021. And a lot of that is flights. So flights were way more because of Kona flights. So I spent 3 grand more on flights. I spent about the same on bike parts, a bit more hotel money, etc. Biggest cost, flights, that was 9 grand basically on flights. Bike sort of service, it was nearly 2 grand on getting my bike serviced and another 3.5 grand on bike parts. So that's also been quite a big cost. And general physio, massage, etc. That's another sort of couple of grand. And then there's things like general swim cost and gym cost, which is another 2 grand for the year. So that's the kind of main things making up that 28.5 grand of what I've spent, which feels like quite a lot when you look at it. But the good news is that I made some money and what actually feels like quite decent money this year. So that's actually quite nice. So overall, I made £87,000. Prize money was pretty much 35 grand. And again, thing to note on prize money, the Ironman prize money already takes tax out. The other prize money doesn't. So obviously, this is it's not all pre-tax. Some of it has already been taxed, but I was I can't be bothered to try and work it out of that. So, but also to note, this isn't a pre-tax earnings, if people think that is, for the more geeky people on that. And then on top of prize money, I then had £14,000 roughly of podium bonus. Sponsorship wise, I had nearly 15.5 grand of just sponsorship payments, which that's obviously one of the biggest differences between this year and last year, that I had nothing in 2021. The YouTube made nearly £1,000, almost. And maybe with this video, it might push it over the edge. So lucky Jack. It's gonna keep him fed all year. I also had quite a lot of old kit that I managed to sell. So I actually made nearly 10 grand in selling kit. That was a couple of bikes, some wheels. I think that was mainly it. It was a couple of bikes and some wheels. So quite decent stuff, hence why it was quite a lot of money. And then PTO bonus, which again, I've kind of roughly tried to work out what I think that's going to be post exchange rate, but that's probably about 8.5 grand. Generally a pretty good year. I think kind of important to pull out PTO making a massive difference. There's obviously like the bonus for just about keeping in the top 20, as well as really decent prize money for coming not very highly placed at a PTO race. So I think hopefully next year, if I can do a few more of the PTO races, be higher up in the rankings from hopefully having a bit more of a consistent year, because basically this year I had 2 good results and 1 pretty average result, whereas if I'd had just like 3 good results, I could have been probably a bit higher up in the rankings. So yeah, I need a bit more consistency, but then hopefully with the new ranking system that will also help, because it'll be more focused on the bigger races. So I've not included coaching, because for me that's basically like a different job. And I think for this it was more to kind of show what can you make as a pro, kind of purely as a pro. Obviously a lot of pros do coaching as a side hustle, but for me that's in the same bracket as my Lloyd's job, which is also different income, and I've not included in this. Yeah, it shows the impact of PTO in terms of how much money they're bringing in. I think it shows the importance of having sponsors that give you good, like some general cash, but also good podium bonuses, given that, yeah, my podium bonuses match my sponsorship money generally. And it also shows the importance, I guess, in some ways of having sponsors that also let you sell old kit, because that, again, that's made quite a lot of money for me this year. Continues to be something, you know, people are always interested in getting kit. Total profit before all the tax taken off, with some tax taken off. And as I've been just doing my 2021 to 22 tax return, that ends up being quite complicated. So like £58,500 profit. Yeah, to be honest, that feels like way more of a livable sum of money. And actually, yeah, feels like a bit more sustainable. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully with doing more PTO races, because obviously I only did 1 this year, so if I can even just doing like 2 and hopefully doing okay, makes a difference. And then, yeah, I'm also looking to try and do a couple of different things which I think could generate not necessarily money, but maybe other opportunities to then further down the line. So for example, looking at potentially going to do like a big gravel race. I think I'm probably not going to get paid to go and do that. Actually, I've got no idea if there's I'm sure some of them have got prize money, but anyway, I don't think I'd be in the prize money, but that would hopefully then be something that maybe someone would think, oh, that'd be quite cool to pay to get footage of or do something with. Maybe some other opportunities to do different things next year.